Hi everyone. Um, Happy Valentine's Day. Technically, I am doing this the evening before. Normally, I always do these in the morning, and I was actually cleaning the house, and I thought I need to do this now. So I think it's going to be a little different this time. Of course, I've got a bunch of paperwork, just random life stuff I have to do after this, and so I made myself a cup of coffee, and I made this mug. Well, I didn't, I ordered it from Vistaprint, but B. I wanted the word B on it. And this image was one I took years and years ago when I was in Florida for a while, and it was just a regenerating, soul satisfying trip. And I spent a lot of quiet mornings next to the ocean. I was on the Atlantic side. And I saw this in the sky later in that day and, well, on the trip. And as you can see, it's not photoshopped. That's simply what the cloud was in the sky. And I was very grateful, so I took a picture and I had it put on a mug. And so I think the message today is be grateful. Be grateful for love in whatever form it comes to you. The love of your pets, or perhaps it is romantic love and a spouse or partner or significant other, or the love of a child or the love of a parent or grandparent. And just because they've passed doesn't mean that they aren't still around and don't love you. And sometimes the ones who were really difficult, hello, my situation, when they died and crossed over, that's when they actually became the person I had always hoped they would end up becoming. So it's never too late to make peace. All right, so what's going to be different about today? And I am so glad you all are all here. I adore all of you, and I am so grateful for you, and I am thankful for you. And I just ask for a blessing of safety, wellness, wholeness, and for the love within and the love without of Spirit to be shown to you. That is my wish and my gift from Spirit to you most fervently. That is what I am asking for. And that you open your heart to love yourselves. All right, so I don't have any cards out in front of me, and what it feels like it's going to be today for this Happy Heart Day message. I can never do that. My hands are like, I can never quite get the right, I don't know. My halves don't match, literally. I'm slightly off center. But you get it. It's heartfelt. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to treat this as a gallery, and so a mediumship gallery, and I'm going to ask for as many as I can cram into the time that we kind of have allotted, as many loved ones, ancestors, relatives, friends. It could be your first grade teacher, it could be the neighbor you had as a kid growing up, whomever wants to come through with the message for anyone who is watching this or who will watch this. I am asking today for messages from those who have transitioned, from those whom have who. God, you'd think I'd know that. Anyway, they're telling me don't get caught up in the minutia, just talk. All right. What are the messages? Please come through. We got a room full. Oh, and they're all carrying flowers. Oh my gosh. There's waves of people standing behind me, and they're all carrying flowers. All right. The first one is Judy. Judy or Jules. And there may be a piggybacking spirit coming in on top of this with the same message with a similar name, Janice. So I think there are three energies coming in. Well, the first one, Judy or Jules, nickname, even though I know that's not, it doesn't matter. And then a Janice. They are coming in. That's the one who passed. One is coming in. She has the energy of an aunt. The other one has the energy of a paternal female figure. It was on the paternal side, but yet she was like a mom to you. Okay, so one of these women was like she was someone on your paternal side of the family, but she acted as a mother to you. She was the mother that you didn't have, or you should have had, and she passed into spirit from ovarian cancer, I think. And she loved you dearly. I know that's what everybody always expects to hear in something like this, but it is true. I think she miscarried numerous times, but was never able to have a child of her own, and you were her child. You were the one that gave her the greatest gift of love she has ever known. And her proudest day was when you actually said, or you called her mom. And that was her proudest day. That's all she wants you to know, that that's not lost and that you are not alone. You are a mother now. You have your own children, or a child, maybe one on the way or one coming you don't know about yet. Well, happy Valentine's Day to you. But she is saying that you are a mother to be proud of. You are everything you didn't receive from your own biological mother. And she knows that you patterned your parenting style after her. And she is just so proud of you. I'm hearing 2 locations because we've got 2 groups of people with this, with the other person, with the Janice, who hasn't spoken yet. I'm hearing foothills of Appalachia. I don't call it Appalachia. I never grew up calling it that. So if I'm saying it wrong, sorry. But I'm hearing someone in this group grew up in the foothills of Appalachia, the Appalachian Trail. Not necessarily in the heart of the mountain area. And then the other one for the group connected to Janice, and sometimes Jane, maybe she was called Jane, or there was a Jane in the family named after her or something. I'm getting like big sky country, like Montana. So, totally opposite ends of the country. And I'm seeing like a moose. So if that figures in prominently, there's a moose. I've never seen a moose in person. It just looks like a really giant deer. But I'm getting that's a moose because of the way the horns are kind of flat and huge. Wow, that's almost kind of scary. But fascinating, beautiful, strong. And that's the message. This might actually be for a male. Janice, or the Janice connection, I feel like that's connected to a male, and the male may have had a daughter named her Jane, or something really close to that, similar. Janine, Janice, something, a derivative of Janice, in honor of her. Okay, now Janice was a smoker, and I think she died from lung cancer. She regrets that more than anything in this world, because she was not able to see her namesake grow up. But she is watching from the other side, so don't worry about that. And there was some joke about her raspy voice. God, there's so much love. And she had it's a joke. I was hearing she had a special dish that she would always make at the holidays, or like a potluck, but it's a joke because everybody said don't eat it. It's probably got a cigarette butt in it or something like that, something goofy. And it was something like Waldorf or Waldorf salad, that one that's kind of green with marshmallows and fluffy stuff in it, and canned fruit. It's actually kind of good. But I know it sounds weird, but it's actually kind of tasty. But but and then they're making jokes about they compared her to the aunt in the Chevy Chase movie, the Christmas movie, where she starts singing the national anthem. And she brings a Jello mold with cat food in it. Hers wasn't that bad, but they like to make jokes and poke fun at her about her cooking with that. 'Cause she'd always smoke with a cigarette dangling out of her mouth. She wants you to laugh and have fun with those memories and keep throwing out those jokes because she loves it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Who else is here? Oh, very petite. A lot of women coming through. This one is, again, we have a female energy, and she is very petite. She looked very brittle and frail, but she was a powerhouse. She had a lot of energy, and I'm seeing floral things around her, like either a floral print or actual flowers. So she loved having flowers around her. She was a gardener, and she loved to have them in the wild, but she would bring them in sometimes and make arrangements. She may have, either this is for someone not in this country, or it's someone or she was an immigrant. She's got a very lilting kind of sound in her voice. But don't make her mad, because she'll get that little scrawny finger, start telling you all about it. And as tiny as she was, you always felt safe with her. You felt safe. She's been gone a long time. The person this is for, either you were born an unexpected late baby, or you're not very old. You might just be in your 40s now. But she has been gone for a while, and this was a grandmother. It may even have been a great-grandmother, but you caught just enough years of her to get to know her. But she is what you'd call a firecracker. She watches over you now. She's not crazy about some guy you're dating. Just gonna put that out there. She's not crazy about who you're dating. What is her name so we can help to identify? Because a whole lot of people might respond to that. A G name like Gladys, Glenora? I'm not familiar with that name, so if anybody recognizes that, it's very specific. I'm getting like a Glenora, and I want to make... I don't know. It just kind of rises and falls like that, the sound of it. In her youth, she wanted to be a dancer. That's part of that. I can see the movement. She was so tiny and so young. Glenda, Glenna. It was shortened to Glenna, but I think it was like Glenora or something like that. Beautiful. That's a beautiful name. I've never heard it before. She was definitely European. She has connections to the war, and I'm of an age that when I say the war, I mean World War II. I think she was a first generation. She escaped. But she didn't want her trauma. She understood hereditary trauma, and she didn't want that to filter down into her kids. But she also didn't want them to be weak. So she made them strong. And some people may have seen her as hard and wondered how she could be so gentle and care so much for her flowers in her garden, but be so hard with people. That's because the flowers were the way that she could express beauty and be surrounded by beauty after seeing so many horrible things. Thank you. Yeah, her big message is you've got a good head on your shoulders, girl. You've got a good head on your shoulders. Don't settle for a bum. She's calling him a bum. Woo. She doesn't like him at all. Not at all. He's not, and don't, oh, she's saying you're expecting him to live up to his potential. Yeah. No, if he's not working and able to support himself now at this age, then either get used to supporting him the rest of your life, or move on to somebody who deserves you. She didn't raise you to take care of someone else who's not willing to do their own work. Okay? She's like, that's not part of our line. We are fighters and survivors. Okay. Music is important to her as well. She always had music around. She was always moving and dancing, and yeah, lovely. I like her a lot. Yeah. I get it, Glenn. I get it. I feel you. I get it. Okay. All right. Let's see. Anyone else here? There's a male. Okay. Why aren't you sure if you should come through? Oh, you weren't. He wasn't an abuser or anything like that. He just wasn't a demonstrative figure. He's actually someone's spouse. The surviving widow is a female, and she is an older person now. Maybe even in the 80s. This may be someone who's watching, someone you know, if not the person who's watching. This is a spouse, and he was not particularly demonstrative, and that is his regret. And on this day, he wants to express, and he knows you won't believe it's him then. He realizes that's a risk, but he's saying that, and his name is Henry. But I'm also seeing Harold. Henry, Harold. A Henry or a Harold? Which one? Why am I getting two names? Oh, they're getting me to the... Oh. Okay. And I'm also hearing Horatio. So I think it's like with the first couple of spirits that came through, this is another collective of souls coming through that have similar issues and stories. But one died in his 50s. One died, the not demonstrative enough guy died, I think he was like in his 70s. So the lady in her 80s may have been a widow for about 10 years now. I think she may be, I'm not sure, but she's in her early 80s. Then Horatio, I think, boy, that's a name you don't hear too often. I believe he died in his 50s. And I think that was an accident, like a car accident. I think he was very demonstrative, and he's here to apologize for dying so soon. I think he'd been drinking, but he wasn't driving, and he wants you to know that. The car was smashed up where they were thrown, so they assumed he was. He wasn't driving, and he wants you to know that. He was on his way home to you and being responsible. I'm also hearing there's like a Greek and Latin connection with this person. That's pretty darn specific, and I don't understand the combination somehow. But that'll make sense to whomever. Henry, Every time he just touched your hand, that was his way of saying he loved you. Or your hand. When he touched your hand, like just the top of your hand, that was his way of saying he loved you. Don't be surprised if you feel the pressure of his hand on yours. You still have time, don't worry about it. I know we all age and age creeps up, but just understand that was a good marriage. And you had good lives together, but you always wanted just a little bit more confessing of love, you know? But he is doing that now. And when it's time, he will be the one to see you across. And that will be quite the reunion. It absolutely will. Okay. Thank you all. Is there anything else before I wrap up? I'm hearing from the guardians and the guides who are kind of standing guard and escorting all of these beautiful souls in. What they want me to express is the immense amount of love that surrounds all of us. And when we are here in this incarnation and surrounded by the rough, raw reality of being in a body and being human, sometimes it's hard to feel that. But understand that you are loved. You are not alone. I'm asking for help and advice about what to do if anyone is in that situation. And they're saying, don't regret your life. Don't make the future full of regrets looking back. Take on the adventure. Put yourself out there. Whether it's through your work or volunteering or just talking to people at the grocery store, hearing each other's stories. Find what it is within your soul that makes you joyous and smile. And that is when everything else falls in line. But focus on yourself first. And know that you are divinely guided and loved at every turn. They're saying for a whole lot of you, I've used her cards a lot. I've mentioned her, Louise Hay. She is like the queen mother of affirmations. She started Hay House Publishing, and she walked the walk. This woman did not do anything that she did not practice herself. And I adore everything I've ever learned about her. They're saying you can look for her affirmations and start using them. Write them down on pieces of paper and tape it to the bathroom mirror. Put them on the dash in your car. Record your own voice on your phone and play it back to yourself. Whatever you need to do. But be careful if you're driving, you know. And, God, I hate having to do this. The caveat. You have free will. These are only suggestions. This is a blah, 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 blah. You get it. You're all smart people. Okay? Don't work to make it fit if it's not yours. But what I can tell everybody, whether you believe me or not, Spirit is with you and loves you, and you are not alone. And this life is not all there is. You don't have to believe me. You'll find out one day. When it's time, not before. Right now, you've got things to do. And transformations within yourself to make. Or just being happy and planting literal seeds in your garden or in a pot, in a window, watching something grow, having a cup of coffee or tea, watching a favorite show, ordering a pizza. Lord, help me, I love pizza. Doesn't always love me, but man, I love pizza. And chocolate. Okay. Well, do what makes you happy. It doesn't matter how small or how big. Be safe, be careful, think it through, but then follow what you know to be best for your life. And don't let old messages stop you, particularly since most of those old messages came from people who have now crossed over and they regret giving them. Okay. All right, I feel complete. I feel finished. Okay. Thank you, Spirit. Oh, they're all applauding all of you. They're clapping for you. They love you so much. Thank you. I love you so much too. I do. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I will talk to you soon.